And now joining us at his campaign headquarters in Arishat, the Liberal candidate for Richmond in this election, Matt Haley. Thank you for joining us on Telile 24/7, Matt.
Thank you for coming here, to Adam. I appreciate the conversation.
No trouble at all. This is not your first crack at elected party politics. You ran for the federal Liberal nomination in Cape Breton-Canso just 2 years ago. Mike Kellaway, now our MP, came up with that one. But I'm just curious as to what attracted you to the Liberal Party, either provincially or federally. What do you think works about the Liberals for you, especially under the leadership of the current Liberal leader, Ian Rankin?
Well, I think what attracts me the most about the Liberal Party is, I share a lot of the values when it comes to some of the progressive platform pieces that they typically have. But I think in Nova Scotia in particular, with the Nova Scotia Liberal Party, what really gets me is it's very much an evidence-based, very cautious and targeted approach to spending and to investments. So that kind of, I come from an engineering background. I'm very much a person who looks at the practical ways to find solutions for problems. Spending to spend is not necessarily an approach I like to take. And so I think that is very much reflected in the party that we see, whether it was under Steve McNeil and now under Ian Rankin.
What made you decide to take a crack at provincial politics at this exact point? And what parts of your Richmond County experience do you feel will help you if you are successful in becoming the MLA on August the 17th?
I live and work in Richmond, and I raised my family in Richmond. So, the biggest reason why I'm running is that, like most people in Richmond, I want to see it grow, and I want to see it, continue to do better. Whether that's through better and more infrastructure, whether it's for care for all the seniors that are family, that are friends, that are neighbors, and then also, one of the big reasons why I decided to run this time is, when we were going through this pandemic, I saw just how well our premiers, I guess there were two, have managed the pandemic with the help of Dr. Strang, of course. But I think that the steady hand and most importantly the importance, the ability to face tough decisions and make the ones that maybe weren't popular but were the ones necessary. That showed a lot to me from both Steve McNeil and Ian Rankin, and so it's one of the big reasons why I think that they would be the right people for the job for the province, and why I want to work for them to make Richmond better.
Your leader, Ian Rankin, and other senior Liberals have suggested that not only has the party been a steady hand during the course of the pandemic, but that it's also the best position to help Nova Scotia rebuild and recover from the pandemic. And I'm just wondering if you can speak to that, Matt, in terms of how that rebuilding would apply to Richmond County in particular.
Well, I think that number one is fixing attainable goals. I think that a big part of our platform is targeted investments that will make a difference, but that we're not just throwing money at a problem and hoping for the best. And so on a very local level, things like continuing to expand on the internet. By 2023, within the next 2 years, we're going to see most of Richmond County have very, very good access to high-speed internet, and that going forward is going to be a big tool when it comes to starting new businesses and growing. Some of our younger industries. We've got some tech sector jobs starting to grow in the area. Another big focus that the party's very much leaning on, and something that I've been kind of advocating for within the party, is that we need to focus on training the next generation, making sure that the jobs that we're training for are jobs that are going to be around forever, or not forever, but in the future. And that's something that I hear a lot about from local businesses who want trained and qualified workers, but they need them soon. So we need to really invest in opening those positions locally. And lastly, I think tourism is kind of it's an undervalued asset in Richmond County, something that we absolutely have to capitalize on. And I think that one of the big pillars of our rebuilding approach to the economy is going to be investing in tourism. And I think that Richmond needs to be there to capitalize on that.
Matt, I'd like to pick up on the education and training part of your most recent comment there and connect it to some of the roles that you're playing right here on Almadam in your daily life. You're officially the coordinator of operations for the Conseil scolaire acadien provincial Provinciale, the Francophone school board serving Nova Scotia, but you're also on the boards of directors for the Arichat Community Development Association and the Petit de Gras Beautification Association. How do you feel that those experiences will help you as an MLA should you be elected?
Right. Well, from a professional point of view, I can tell you that my job on a day-to-day basis is dealing with departments of government to try to fix problems that we face within the school board. And so, on a broader perspective, I think that those contacts, those networks, and that ability to understand government budgeting, government spending, and how different departments will manage them, knowing who to call when you have an issue within departments, that's an ability that I've picked up over the last 10 years. It's experience that I will certainly be able to bring and hit the ground running. And then also my work through Beautification Society and with Arichat Community Development Association, finding funding for projects in Richmond County is quite a challenge. And that's something I hear across the board when I talk to community groups and volunteer groups. They are the lifeblood of our county. Every service and activity that's provided in the community, most of them are done by volunteers, and they're having to fundraise for every innovative idea they have, any project they want to bring. And so I really want to be someone who works with them and is proactive with finding funding for them, so that they can continue to provide more services and more activities and bring more infrastructure like the park and playground that we're trying to bring in Arichat.
What are some of the issues that you're hearing on the doorsteps that are really framing this issue, not just for Nova Scotia in general, but for Richmond County in particular, Matt?
Well, I think I can tell you I've knocked on more than 2,500 doors in Richmond, and it is resoundingly clear that healthcare is kind of top of mind for everyone, not only on the physician recruitment side, but also when it comes to long-term care and healthcare, home care, and nursing. Nursing is a big thing that comes up very often at the door. The other things would be internet. Certainly, roads and roadsides are something that's top of mind for a lot of people. But I can tell you that the number one issue I hear, maybe even more than healthcare, I hear from seniors who want more support. They want more help, whether that's through housing, access to programs that government offers, navigating grants and different sources of revenue that they can find. Those are challenges that I'm hearing people are facing every day, and a lot of people, on whether they're on single income or just on pensions, they're having a hard time getting through their day-to-day. So it is certainly something that will be a priority for me. Richmond County has, I think it's 40% of its population is over 60 years old. So we have to make sure that we have, we're providing those services, and like I said, most importantly is just getting access to those services. So making sure that we're proactive with seniors to get them the help they need.
And you mentioned just a couple of moments ago that your day job with the CSAP puts you in contact with several government departments on a daily basis. Is that something you pitch to seniors in particular, but to voters overall, that you know who to speak to and you know how to get things done in a case like that?
For sure. I mean, in particular in sectors such as transportation and roads and infrastructure and environment and labor. These are sectors, and education, of course, because I work in education. These are sectors that I know very, very well. The good thing is, while I don't have as much experience in healthcare as I would like to have going into the job, when you knock on 2,500 doors, you meet a lot of healthcare professionals. And every time I do, I spend a lot of time asking them questions, seeing where they think is our next step. Where should we focus? And so I'm very much also learning those sectors that I didn't know so well before the campaign. So I think that when we get to election time, if I'm elected, I'll certainly be able to start on day one and get some of these things moving.
So as we're doing this interview, Matt, we're just 8 days away from the final voting day in this short summer election campaign. At this stage of the game, are you feeling optimistic? How do you feel the campaign has gone for you, and are you looking forward to some good results on election day?
I mean, I feel great, and that's not to say that I have any kind of inkling that I will win or not. I've got a team behind me that's working around the clock. A lot of people putting a lot of time in, a lot of efforts. So, my job is simple this election. I'm going out, knocking on doors, talking to people, seeing what their priorities are, and making sure that we're going to reflect that. And I've got a team that's kind of worried about the logistics of it. But when it comes to advanced polls, I am seeing that people just want to get out ahead of election day. I've been around campaigns enough to know that, typically when we talk about advanced polls, there might be some significance one way or the other if people are going to vote early. But in this case, I'm very much seeing that people just want to get ahead of Election Day. They want to try to avoid the crowds. They've extended hours when it comes to Election Day, advanced polls into the continuing return office, sorry. And it's it's a message I get to the doors too. Make sure you get out, vote early, stay safe. That's the key message during this. We're still in this pandemic, so it's something that I'm also offering to folks.
Well, as we head into this critical home stretch of the campaign, I really do appreciate you giving me some time today. So thank you, Matt Haley, for joining me on Telile 24/7.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adam.
That's Matt Haley. He is the Liberal candidate for Richmond in the August 17th Nova Scotia election.